Namaste everyone. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang. The ongoing sessions are on Bhagavad Gita offered from an Advaita perspective. It is very meticulously presented by Bindoji, and we are on chapter 4. The replays of all the previous rooms are available in Clubhouse, or you can go into the links shared in the chat. One is Advaita Retold YouTube channel. The other is the Apple podcast, and the third one is Spotify, where you can access all the earlier talks, not just Bhagavad Gita, but Aparoksha Anubhuti and the Upanishads, which are all very profound Sravana Manana tools. There is also a book penned by Artemisia titled An Imaginary Door, which are all a collection of insights from Bindoji's earlier talks on Advaita. For housekeeping, I'll close the chat and hand raising, after Bindoji completes his talk, we'll open up these channels for further question and answers. As always, thank you, Bindoji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and Hari Om to all of you. Let me do my invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purana Nam Alayam Garunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murtibeda Vivagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. The Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutaha Stunvandi Divyai Savai Vedai Sangapadakrammo Parishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na Vidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Last class we discussed in detail Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The 8th verse. The Lord manifests in every age to protect the righteous, destroy the influence of the wicked, and re-establish dharma, thereby restoring the conditions necessary for both worldly order and the spiritual liberation. Now, having explained his nature of yada yada hi dharmasya and then paritranaya, were the avatara prakarana, or the nature of avatara, the appearance of Brahman as Ishvara, Parameshvara, has been explained. Now the next verse is the 9th verse, which is almost like a phalashruti, or a fruit of the knowing of these two verses of 7 and 8, and some sort of a culmination to the avatara prakarana. Janma karmacha me divyam evam yo vekti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti mam eti saha arjuna. Janma karmacha, birth and action. Cha is the conjunction for and. Janma cha karma. It will be in how it will be in English. Birth and action. Me divyam. Me is for my. Divyam is transcendent or luminous or divine. It's an adjective. So, both Janma and Karma are divine appearances of mine. I am appearing as both Karma and Janma through my divinity. That is the word Krishna is telling Arjuna. Don't think that the Janma and Karma are insignificant things or not important. They are divine in nature because they come from me, or therefore it is mine. Evam, in this manner, Yaveti, one who knows or understands, Tattvataha, in accordance with reality or truly or as real truth what it is. Yaktva deham punarjanma na eti. When having abandoned the body or the association with the body, punarjanma means rebirth. Na eti means does not attain. Mam eti saha. Saha means he, that one who knows me in the tattvadaha, in that reality. Mam eti. He reaches me, he attains me, or he goes to me. O Arjuna. So the connection to the fifth to eighth, the Avatara Prakarana is established. What is the Avatara in sixth verse, and when it occurs in the seventh one, and why it occurs in the eighth one. The verse 9th, which we just read, now performs the closure of moksha or kaivalya, announcing the fruit of knowing that Avatara truth or Phalashruti with Tattvajnana, Tattvataha, Tattvajnana, the knowledge of the real as it truly is. It is the Prakarana's own Phalashruti, the Avatara Prakarana's Phalashruti, the culminating statement that reveals what the teaching is ultimately for. Among the philosophically concentrated verse in the Gita, this verse has accomplished in 2 lines the entire purpose or what is the fruit of this thing. Specifies the object of liberating knowledge. What is the liberating knowledge? Yam Yaveti, one who knows, is what the word is. What is the knowledge? Janma karma cha me divyam. The birth and the action of the avatara should be known it as divyam. Number 2, it specifies the mode of liberating knowledge. Evam tattvataha, one who knows this in accordance with the reality. Na punajanma, no rebirth. Mam eti, attains me. This verse is also a bridge between the Avatara Prakarana and the Karma Yoga Jnana teaching that follows till the end of this chapter. That is from the 10th verse till the 43rd verse. what is going to be taught by Krishna. This verse is the bridging between the two. So, knowing me thus, yam yo veti tattvataha, is precisely that jnana whose nature, power and supremacy is being described in the rest of the chapter 4. So, Janma karma cha me divyam. When Krishna says that my birth and action are divyam. Divyam means divine. Divyam is an adjective here, though it qualifies two nouns, Janma and Karma. Both of them are Divyam. But together they constitute a single divinity and that reality. So pairing of Janma and Karma as together as Divyam is primarily the philosophical target of this first quarter of this verse. It has got a deliberate echoing from the 4.6, Ajopi san sambhavami, etc. Also from 7 and 8, Srijami sambhavami, which we studied the last few days. The Janma, the birth, and the Karma, the action, the cosmic actions of Paritrana, Vinasha and Samstapana, Dharma Samstapana, of Parameshwara are not of the same order as that of a Jiva. Jiva Janma or Jiva Karma. They are not divine. Whereas that of Parameshwara, the action and Janma, Mama Maya, using his own Maya, when he projects himself, that is divine. While Jiva Janma arises from Avidya Kama Karma, compulsions, samskara, karma bandha, etc., Parameshwara's Janma arises from Atma Maya, sovereign, free and avyaya. It is independent. It is not due to any fruits of action or anything like that, which is the case with the Jiva Janma. Similarly, the Jiva Karma produces Karma Bandha. What are the Karma Bandhas? Punya and Papa, the boons and the sins, that bind through the Sanchita Agami Prarabdha. Sanchita means accumulated. Agami means what is yet to fructify. Prarabdha is what is currently being enforced on the Jiva. So Parameshwara's karma produces no such bandha, no such bondage. Namam karmani limpanti. In the 14th verse, Krishna will tell that. Because he is eternal. He is an akarta, non-doer. He has no doership. And he is a sakshi. Acting through Atma Maya. Using his own power of wailing. Without kartrutva abhimana. There is no doership in him. The qualifier diyam thus does the philosophical work of asserting the categorical difference between the Ishvara's birth and action and all samskarika birth and action of the Jiva. To know Janma Karma as Divyam is to know them as they truly are. What are they? not through the lenses of pratyaksha, which sees only the historical human appearing form of the Ishvara as Krishna, but through the Atmajnana that perceives the birthless Chaitanya expressing itself through Maya for an independent purpose of Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkrita Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. Now the word Krishna uses is Tattvataha, which is a very pregnant word, and Shankaracharya leaves no stone unturned in bringing this word into a true Advaitic format. The real Tattvataha meaning is thatness or as suchness, if I can use such a word. The truth as suchness or the true thatness, that as it is. The essential nature of the reality. That is Tattvataha. In Advaita, Tattva means Brahmasya Swarupa. It is the Swarupa of the Brahman or the real truth as truly it is. Brahman as Satchitananda. Therefore, Tattvata is asserting that knowing in question, which is not in the appearance level, at the Vyavaharika level, but knowing at the reality level, at the Paramarthika level. Evam Tattvataha is the adverb for the Tattvataha. So, evam here means thus or in this manner, shows that is a precise back reference that points back to the specific contents from verse number 5 through 8. The teaching about Janma as Atma Maya Krita, as a effect of Atma Maya, and Karma as Dharma Rakshanartha, for the purpose of protecting the Dharma. And the speaker as Ajaha Avyayaha Atma, Ishvara. Therefore, to know evam is to know in the specific manner just expounded. It is not a vague general knowing, but a very precise Advaitic apprehension of Parameshwara's nature as disclosed in the Avatara Prakarana. Yaha veti saha na eti eti. There is a relative correlative construction when we use this word like Yaha veti, one who knows, saha, he, na eti punarjanma, he doesn't go through the punarjanma, sa eti mam, he reaches me. So he who knows that one does not go to rebirth, he attains me. This is a universal condition. It is not that it is any specific person, but whoever knows me in this fashion or in this manner, irrespective of what color, caste, creed, anything, man, woman, nothing, anything, no conditions put in the condition. So one whoever knows me like this, that person, he attains the fruit. The fruit is na punarjanma, and he attains me. The universality is the most important aspect in this. Any adhikari who attains this tattvajnana attains the results of not having to go through punarjanma or rebirth or he attains oneness with Brahman. So Tattvata is the crux of this second half of the first line. There are three levels of knowing the avatara. But the Tattvata is to be understood in comparison with the other two. The first one is Laukika knowledge or Laukika Jnana, knowing as the commoners will understand. Seeing Krishna as a great historical king of Yadavas, a hero, or as a teacher, knowing the avatara as an extraordinary human being. He is a human being, but special. This is the pratyaksha based knowing, seeing him from the understanding of what has been heard about him, what are the things we have done from birth to death, all those things, knowing him at the level. That is the level of Arjuna's Purvapaksha in the 4.4. The fourth verse he is saying. He asked the question, I am seeing you now teaching me this Avyaya Yoga, but you said you have taught this to Vivaswan, the sun god and the beginning of creation. So Arjuna's Purvapaksha question in the fourth verse was from the Laukika knowledge or from the worldly knowledge. Then there is a second category of people who are known through the Shastric knowledge or the knowing through Shravana of the Shastra. It is coming under Paroksha Jnana. They know that Krishna is Parameshwara, that his birth is Atma Maya Krita. They know these two things and that his actions are for the Dharma Samsthapanartha or re-establishing Sanatana Dharma. But their knowing is an intellectual comprehension of the Avatara doctrine. This is a immediate, indirect knowledge, Paroksha Jnana. Necessary, but not yet Mukti Hetu. It doesn't help in liberation or freedom from Avidya Kama Karma. Therefore, Tattva Jnana, the third category, is the most important one. Tattva Jnana is the Aparoksha Anubhava itself. The immediate, non-mediated recognition that the Parameshwara who manifests as Avatara is identical with my Pratyagatma or the Pratyagatma itself, the innermost self of the knower who knows this. So Tattvataha Veti, when it is said, knows not merely about the Tattva of the truth, which the second category people knows it as intellectual knowledge, but as Tattva, the self-luminous recognition of Atman by Atman. This alone is the jnana which fructifies into na punarjanma, without any rebirth. Shankaracharya cites that Brihadaranya Upanishad, 4th chapter, 4th pada, and the 7th mantra. Tamaiva dhiro vijaniya prajnanam kurvida brahmana. Having known that alone, that is with a capital T, the wise Brahmana should cultivate understanding. That is where the Tattvata Jnanam will rectify. The Vijnaya here is the equal to the Tattvataha Viditva. Knowing Tattva not merely conceptually. The Evam Yo Veti Tattvataha thus set the epistemological bar for liberation at the level of Aparoksha Jnana. It is the same bar that Shankaracharya maintained throughout his bhashyas as the sole direct cause for moksha. Kevala Jnanat Moksha. Liberation or emancipation is possible only through knowledge. Therefore, Tattvataha Viditva, knowing as Tattva not merely conceptually, that is the most important aspect of it. Then when he goes towards the Phalashruti or the fruit of a thing, he uses the word Tyaktva. It's a very tricky word. Tyaktva actually means having abandoned or abandoning the body. That does not go through rebirth. Now it feels there is some sequential things which is mentioned by that. The word Tyaktva means after abandoning the body. So after abandoning body, he doesn't go. That means this knowledge will be beneficial only after the body is discarded. A doubt can arise. And what is Punarjanma he is referred to? We should know Tyaktva Punarjanma na eti. After abandoning the body, he doesn't go through a rebirth. It is an indeclinable modifying the Janma. Punar means again birth. What does it mean? A compulsive re-entry into the cycle of birth, death, etc. Through karma bandha. So, having Tyaktva the body, na eti punarjanma, he does not go through rebirth. And mam eti, he attains me. The same verb describes both the negative aspect of rejecting the rebirth and the positive attaining or going or merging with Parameshwara. Now, Tyaktva Deham and this eti, how are they connected? First, let us look the having abandoned the body, Tyaktva Deham. How does it fit in the picture? There is a sequential interpretation for this. The Jnani first drops the body. He knew it intellectually. He drops the body, physical death, and then does not take rebirth, suggesting Videha Mukti, liberation after death. That is what called the Videha Mukti. Deha means body. Videha means after having left the body. Mukti means liberation. Whereas Shankaracharya prefers the Advaitic interpretation. Tyaktva Deham means having inwardly relinquished the identification with the body. Dehatma Buddhi Tyaktva. That is through Jnana, not through physical death, resulting in Jivan Mukti. Liberation while living. This is after which the physical death merely removes the prarabdha sustained body without any consequent rebirth. This needs a bit of explanation. Having inwardly relinquished the identification with the body, this we have to now connect to the Janma Karma Cha Divyam, the birth and the actions being divine. That when helps us to abandon the identification with the body, that can happen only when we know the reality of the Janma and the Karma. Janma is now to be understood as identification with the body, mind, intellect complex. That is exactly what is Janma. My birth means I identifying myself with my body, mind, intellect and the physicality of this sharira or this body. That is what is called the Janma. And Karma is all actions performed thereafter using the body, mind, intellect complex. If I am considering myself to be this physical entity of body, mind, intellect complex, how can I call this as Divyam, divine? It cannot be called divine. But Krishna said that Janma Karma Cha Divyam. Yo veti tattvataha, one who knows it in reality. So what does it mean? We have to now understand that Krishna is indicating towards that reality which can merge with the Parameshwara and which will not have a rebirth. So the knowing principle obviously is not the body, neither the mind nor the intellect. Independently, the mind and intellect and the body is inert and insentient jada, inert materials. Only when the Chaitanya is present in the body, the mind and the intellect feels like it is knowing. Even then the knowledge is limited by the conditions of the sense organs. Therefore, the potency of the knowing is not fully utilized. But when it is mentioned that the knowing principle is divine, Krishna is not referring to, definitely not the jiva identified with the physical body, mind and intellect. He is referring to the Atma. And that Atma is known by Atma itself. That is the knowing principle which knowing what is the truth. That then it becomes tattvataha. The knowing as suchness. The truth as suchness. Only when that takes place, we will be able to de-identify ourselves from the body, mind, intellect complex to the awareness or the consciousness which knows the body, mind and intellect. Only when that shift to the knowing principle of the consciousness or the awareness takes place, such a knowledge knows that it is not the one which is going through the birth again and again. Because knowledge doesn't have birth or death. Awareness has no birth or death. Consciousness has no birth or death. Whichever one you want to associate with, you can. The birth and death is of the physical body. Even the mind and the intellect goes through the association because they are part of the body. And when it knows that it doesn't have the birth and the rebirth and everything, is the knowledge which makes that knowing principle, the consciousness or the awareness, that I am is what Krishna referring to as Mam Eti. He attains me, the myhood, the mehood, or whatever. I don't know how to express it in English, but that nature that I am pure consciousness, which is Brahman, Atma, or Parameshwara, whatever is the way in which we want to associate. Only when that happens, then we will realize that the nature is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava. Nityaha, it is eternal. Shuddhaha, it's pure, because there is nothing other than that. Buddhaha, it is pure awareness or consciousness. Muktaha, it is ever liberated. It was never under bondage. Even when knowing through the body, mind and intellect, we were free. That absence of the knowledge who we are make us feel that we are the limited body, mind, intellect. Therefore, the tattvataha yaktva deham is to know that we are not the body, mind and intellect. So the abandonment of the body that matters is not the physical death, which every being undergoes and which in itself produces no moksha. But the abandonment of the Deha Atma Adhyasa, the mutual superimposition between the body and the Atma. When Tattvajnana arises, Evam yo veti tattvataha, that is the Tattvajnana. The fundamental Adhyasa, superimposition that I am this body, born at such and such a time, of such and such a lineage, subject to birth, subject to death, subject to disease, decay, aging, etc. That is dissolved at its root. This is the true Deha Tyaga. Not a future event, but the present dissolution of Ahankara, body identification through Atma Sakshatkara. By realizing that I am the Atman, or I am the pure self. And once this Adhyasa is dissolved, that is, once the false identification that I am the body, mind, intellect is dissolved or abandoned, there is no karta left behind. The karma, the entire karma is being done by the body, mind and intellect. I am the seer, I am the eater, I am the drinker, I am the walker, I am the swimmer. All those things are related to the body. And when there is no karta left to accumulate the new karma, there is no bhokta left behind also for the karma phala. And therefore no mechanism of punarjanma. That is how punarjanma is negated. But the moment the identification, superimposition, dehatma buddhi happens, then the karma is done by the deha, is assumed to be done by the atma, and the karma phala of which comes from the karma is now to be going through the atma will go through the birth again, but atma is a sakshi of all the events which is being done by the body and the intellect and the sense organs. Therefore, no mechanism will be left behind the one who knows that I am not the body, mind, intellect, but I am the Atma. Punarjanma requires three conditions. The first and foremost is avidya, the ignorance generating the identification with the body, mind, intellect. And from that arises the desire born out of the identification with the body, mind, intellect, which is the kama. So, avidya, kama, which prompts us action-based desires for the fruits of action to enjoy that a future birth is also desired. Therefore, karma becomes the third pillar, avidya, kama, karma. These are the three which makes us feel that we have punarjanma. When Tattvajnana removes the avidya, and with it, the combination of avidya, kama, karma, janma chain collapses. Na punarjanma is thus not a future reward, but a logical consequence of the dissolution of the samsara mechanism at its root by jnana. Not only punarjanma, Krishna says, Mam eti. He attains me, he reaches me, he comes to me, he merges with me, or he becomes me. This is the positive pole of moksha. The complement to denial of punarjanma. The two together define moksha from its negative removal of samsara and positive prapti of Parameshwara or attainment of mukti. Both the aspects are happening simultaneously. Thus the universal law, the connection between Tattvajnana and moksha is necessary, not contingent. It operates like a natural law, nitya niyama, not a divine reward contingently bestowed by Parameshwara or divine blessing. It is a natural law. If you have this knowledge, freedom is yours. So Shankaracharya says, Mam eti, attains me, is the most philosophically charged phrase of this verse. The crucial question is, what does it mean to attain Parameshwara? Mam eti means attain me. What is that mean? Shankaracharya resolutely rejects the dualistic interpretation that Jnani travels to some Vaikunta or a divine realm where Parameshwara dwells as a separate being. Such a reading would imply a spatial separation between Jiva and Parameshwara, which will contradict the Advaita. Number two, there is a temporal future attainment, something not yet accomplished while living, which is contradicting the Upanishadic Nitya Siddhatva of moksha. Because Upanishad always talks about Ayam Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. All those things are indicating towards Nitya Siddhatva, means eternal attainment of moksha. Then the third one is the duality of attainer and attained. There is a duality. One who attains and there is something which is attained. The sadhaka or the jiva is trying, is the attainer, and the attained is Parameshwara. Contradicting Brahma's non-dual nature. Brahman is non-dual. But when you have an attainer who is attaining Brahma, then that attainer and attained negates the very definition that Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. There is only one non-dual Brahman. Therefore, Shankaracharya says Mameti is actually meaning Mameva Bhavati. He becomes me alone. The person who knows this way, which has been explained as my avatara, the recognition of the non-difference, Abheda Anusandhanam, between the Jiva's Pratyekatma and Parameshwara. The Pratyekatma or the Jiva's Atma, the individual self, is not different from the Parameshwara. Therefore, attaining me is not a journey, but a recognition. The Jiva discovers that it already is what it is seeking. Praptasya prapti. You are already that at this very moment. We all are. But only the knowledge can reveal that to us. As long as that knowledge doesn't fructify in us, tattvataha na veti. Ya tattvataha veti, he attains it. Ya tattvataha na veti, one who does not know in the reality, he will never attain it. Therefore, Mameti as per Shankaracharya is a word, a statement similar to Aham Brahmasmi. The Mahavakya expressed as a fruit of action of Tattvajnana. This reading is supported by the Brihadaranya Upanishad also. Brahmaiva san Brahma apyeti. The 4th chapter, 4th pada, 6th mantra. Being Brahman alone, the knower attains Brahman. Where apyeti means goes towards or merges into. Recognition of already accomplished identity, not a special movement. Shankaracharya also cites the Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.9. Brahmaiva tat amritam purastad Brahma paschad Brahma dakshinasa dakshottarata sarvam brahmaiveta. Brahman alone is the immortal. Before, behind, to the left, to the right, to the top, to the bottom, and all is this Brahman. And one who knows like this Brahman, he verily becomes the Brahman itself. At the end of the verse, Krishna says, O Arjuna, it's a personalizing seal of this fruit of action, of knowing, which is na punarjanma na mameti, is being declared directly to Arjuna. or to the listener of this sloka, this verse, or to the sadhu whose paritrana is being enacted in the real time through this very avatara teaching. The verse thus completes the circle. 4.8 announced the paritranaya sadhunam as the purpose of avatara. 4.9 specified what that paritrana consists of for the individual sadhu. Na punarjanmam mameti. Liberation from the samsara and recognition of the identity of Parameshwara. Thus the single verse with giving relative and correlative sentence is embedded. Conditions being Janma Karmacha Divyam Me Ya Veti Sattvataha. One who knows thus in accordance with the Tattva that my birth and actions are Divyam or divine. Saha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanman Nayeti Mameti Charjuna. That one, having abandoned the body, does not go for rebirth. He attains verily me, O Arjuna. The philosophical structure is Janma Karma, two objects, is connected with one predicate, Divyam. The unity of Parameshwara's being and action is divine in reality. Then there is Na Eti and Eti, two verbs of the same root. The negative and positive poles of moksha, expressed through identical verbal morphology, emphasizing that liberation is a single reality described from two sides. One from the empirical side, no punarjanma, no rebirth, and mameti from the absolute paramarthika level. Therefore, the Divyam as an epistemological key, Shankaracharya reads Divyam as the qualifier for both Janma and Karma, is the full philosophical fulcrum of this verse. To know Janma, Karma as Divyam is to know them belonging to the order of Chaitanya, Chit, not the order of Jada, inert matter, or Karma Bandha, or avidya-driven compulsion. This is the specific content of Tattvajnana in this context, seeing through the upadhi of Krishna's historical form to the Avyaya Aja Chit Swarupa, Ishvara, Parameshwara, that the Avatara Prakarana has revealed. Shankaracharya for knowing Janma as Divyam is equal to knowing it as non-different from Atma Maya, or as the sovereign projection of Chaitanya, rather than the karma-driven compulsive birth for the purpose of paritranaya sadhunam divinashaya dushkrita. It is not a karma-driven compulsion. But knowing karma as divyam, knowing it as akritatva expressed through action, non-doership expressed through action. How can it be? That is, Shankaracharya says, the Parameshwara acting without the doership, kartrutva abhimana, without karma bandha. Therefore, there is no bondage from the action in pure dharma samsthapanartha. So all his actions are driven by not a volition, need or compulsion from his side. It is a pure establishment of dharma. This Divya Karma is the model of Karma Yoga that the rest of the fourth chapter will elaborate. Action without Sangha, without Kartrutva Abhimana, Divya Karma in the Jiva's life. And the Aparoksha Anubhava is the same as Tattvajnana. It's not a mere doctrine. The liberating knowing is not a doctrinal assent, but an aproksha anubhava, immediate, non-mediated experience of the truth. One can intellectually accept that Krishna's birth is Divya, and he is Ajopisan, he is a Parameshwara. Still, he may not attain moksha. The Tattvajnana that liberates is the self-referential recognition where the knower recognizes that the Parameshwara whose Janma, Karma are divine is identical with my own Atma or self. The collapse of the knower-known duality will happen in the fire of Atma Sakshatkara. That is when the Tattva Jnana takes place. So, Shankaracharya analyzes this Punarjanma follows the causal chain of samsara precisely driven by avidya, kama, karma, samskara, punarjanma. Whereas Tattvajnana strikes at the root of the avidya, mula. And when avidya is destroyed by the jnanagni, which will be coming in the 37th verse, the entire chain collapses. How? No avidya means no kartrutva abhimana. Therefore no kama, no desires. And when you have no desires, no karma bandha producing actions. The actions won't be binding you. Because you have no desire in the action, but you do the action for the purpose of the action. Therefore, no karma bandha. When you don't have the karma bandha, there is no samskara generating the future birth. No fruits of action or no desire for the fruits of action, which normally generates the future birth. And the absence of that samskara, there is no punarjanma, no rebirth. This is not a miraculous intervention, but a logical necessity. Avidya's destruction necessarily implies samsara's cessation. Shankaracharya refers in the Viveka Chudamani, Jandunam narajanma durlabamata kum swam tado viprata tasmad vaidika dharma marga varada vittvatvam asmat param. The birth of a human birth alone offers the opportunity for this destruction of avidya. Because that's human birth is a rare birth. And its fruit is precisely no punarjanma. Only if the knowledge fructifies in us. Then mameti. The three levels, Advaitic levels. Mameti across three levels of understanding. One is the level 1, which is the Saguna understanding of Upasaka, where he attains Parameshwara, reaches through the divine realm of Brahmaloka, Vaikunta, etc. Is valid as a empirical description for those who still are in the Saguna Upasana. Level 2 is Saguna dissolving into Nirguna. He attains Parameshwara. The Upadhi conditioned Jiva merges with Brahman after the Mahapralaya. That is Karma Mukti. Through the path of Devayana. That is through the karma again. But the person will have to accumulate his boons, punya, to remain in the Brahmaloka, and the Brahmaloka will dissolve at the end of the total dissolution, Mahapralaya. Level 3 is the Nirguna, as per the Advaitic Siddhanta. Brahmaivasan Brahma Apyeti. He is already Brahman when he recognizes this, and the apparent separation is renowned and dissolved as mithya, is not a reality. The Sayujya in its most radical Advaitic sense is not union, which implies prior duality, but a recognition of never having been separate. Abhedhanusandhana. Therefore, the third level is the Tattvataha, in accordance with the Tattva, and is the only one that produces na punarjanma, no rebirth, definitively and immediately. The first two levels produces punarjanma, eventually even Brahmaloka is transferred before karma mukti for the Sagunopasaka. Only the third, Atyanta Nivritti, the final irreversible cessation of samsara, can happen only from Tattvajnana. As said earlier, this is Gita's internal Falashruti, a statement of fruit of hearing or knowing the text or teaching. Serves both the motivational seal and epistemological guarantee. That is what the teaching accomplishes when properly received. The ninth verse functions as Gita's own internal Falashruti for the Avatara Prakarana. No Janma Karma as divine, Tattvataha, that is the Tattvajnana. And one who knows that, no Punarjanma, and he attains Mukti. The verse simultaneously completes the Avatara Prakarana and inaugurates the soteriological teaching proper for the question now naturally arising is, how does one attain this Tattvajnana? And the answer lies in what lies in the rest of the chapter 4 from verse number 10 to verse number 43. That is the heart. So this is the heart of the Avatara Prakarana, which is fully now revealed to us. The teaching began 4.1, where the cosmic parampara was mentioned as Avyaya Yoga by teaching this to Vivatswan at the time of creation, and has arrived at its personal, intimate and liberating conclusion now as Parameshwara's Jnana Karma, as Divyam, known as divine, is the Tattvajnana, which results in the end of samsara and the recognition of Brahman. That is the Paritrana. That is the uplifting of sadhus, mean those who are doing dharma. The verse that follows next, 4:10, Vidaraga by Krodha, will describe the inner state that enables the Tattvajnana and begin the transition towards Jnana Yoga Prakarana that crowns the fourth chapter. There are only two statements by Shankaracharya in the commentary. Janma Maya Rupam Karmacha Sadhunam Paritranadi Me Mama Divyam Aprakritam Aishwaryam Evam Yatoktam Yah Veti Tattvataha Tattvena Yaha Yavat Tyaktva Deham Imam Punarjanma Punarutpatim Na Eti Na Prapnoti Mameti Saha Agachati Muchyate E Arjuna. Janma Maya Rupa, my birth is the nature of Maya as an apparent manifestation. Karmacha sadhunam paritranadi me mama divyam aprakritam aishwaryam. My actions, such as protecting the righteous, are divine, not belonging to the ordinary material order, but a sovereign, lordly action. Evam yatoktam yaha veti tattvataha tattvena yavat yathavat. He who knows thus in truth and as it really is, Tyaktva deham imam punarjanma punaruttim na eti na prapnoti. After abandoning this body, does not return for a birth again. Mam eti agacchati saha muchyate Arjuna. He comes to me, he becomes liberated, O Arjuna. So this verse explains how the knowledge of Lord's true nature leads to the liberation. So Divyam, Apragritam, Aishwaryam are the actions, are Lord's action. Divine, not part of ordinary nature, expression of sovereign power. Therefore, Krishna acts, he is not bound by karma, nor compelled by the desire. With this, the summary will be like this. The birth of Parameshwara and actions by him are divine manifestations through Maya, not ordinary events. One who truly understands this reality becomes free from birth and attains liberation in the Lord. Na esha moksha margam idanim pravrittaha kim tarhi punapurvam api. So the question is being asked, for which Krishna gives the answer. Vidaraga bhayakroda manmaya mam upasritaha bahavo jnana tapasa uda mad bhavam agataha. That is the 10th verse which we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamata Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Mendoji. I've opened the chat and hand raising. As always, a very deep manana. Any follow-up questions or discussions, you can come up or put it in the chat.
Namaste Karan. Namaste Venkat.
Namaste,
Yeah, yes,
Binduji.
yes, Karan.
Quick question. You were speaking about the Brahma Loka, that it will dissolve. I didn't get that part totally. Can you give? Okay.
See, as per the Shastra, the books, not in the Vedas, but in the Puranas, it is mentioned that the cycle of the time, Kala Chakra, has a beginning and an end, because time has got a beginning and end, even though in between it will become eternal. The beginning and end of the time itself is a cycle called the Kala Chakra. And the end of the Kala Chakra is when everything, including the universe and the appearances, everything will go into a state of hibernation back to the source from where it came. That is where we said the Brahma Loka. Now there are 14 lokas I told you, no, in the Purana where they describe it is. There are all different levels of experiences. The Brahma Loka is supposed to be the ultimate in the experiential world, which is in the empirical world. And the highest point anybody can reach by action, through action, is Brahmaloka. And once he reaches Brahmaloka, then he has to stay put there till the time collapses into the source of beginning itself. Like the Big Bang reversing everything into back to from where the Big Bang took place. So that is what is it is an explanation in the Puranas, but not in the Vedas or Upanishads.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karan. Namaste, Venkat.
Binduji, follow up on the same question, because Here there is a clear separation. Tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So that means after leaving the body, you will reach, they will merge with me. Then while living, it's clear call out. That means who knows my divya, that daivika, right? It is adi daivika. It is falling into adi daivika than adhyatmika. Here it is creating a boundary within which a sadhaka, who knows the glory of Paramatman in the daivika form and feels it, experienced it, etc., will, reach him after leaving the body. And that is a clear call out. Why are we giving an Advaitic model to it?
The reason why we are giving Advaitic model to it is because the word Tektva. In Sanskrit, the word Tektva means having abandoned. If it had been what you have said, Adi Devika or the Devika form, then the word should have been Mritva. Having died, he will attain, not get Punarjanma. He will reach me. Okay? Then the word instead of Tyaktva should have been Mritva, having died. But instead of having died, Krishna used the word having abandoned. Abandoning is possible only when what is being held is released or dropped. It is not as good as dying. Therefore, Advaitic explanation that identification with the body, mind, intellect, having abandoned that, with the knowledge, Tyaktva, Tattvataha Veti, Viditva. That is also supporting that Advaitic principle only. Tattvataha Veti means to know. Tattvataha means by, in truth, reality as such or as suchness. So knowing as suchness is the reason why he is able to do the abandonment of the association with the body, mind and intellect. If he is dying, then Tattvataha Veti has no role to play. He doesn't have to know anything. He dies and he goes. Right? So it is very clear that the Advaitic explanation is the only possible explanation possible for this particular verse. Otherwise, Krishna should have changed the words. Tattvataha Viditva has to be changed to, something else. And Tyakta should have been then changed into Mrititva or Mritva.
If you take this line of argument, Viduji, this knowledge of Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam, that jnana of that, avatara, followed by actions to maintain the order, etc. Is this knowledge falling into Gnana, Vijnana or Pragnana? Then it will fall into Pragnana?
No. This Janma Karma, the purpose of a divine avatara or divine hand in the order of things and activity for re-establishment of dharma and annihilation of adharma, dushkrita, thereby re-establishing the Sanatana Dharma, is done only by a power which is not within the empirical means. Because in the empirical means it was going on, then why does it have to go through the decay of dharma and enhancement of adharma? Because empirically it is not possible for rectification. That is the time when Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata apyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. That word srijati, srij dhatu is to project, to appear, or to present myself. So that is what is being referred here as Janma and Karma, of the purpose of that divine force. It is not the physical body of Krishna as it is what is being referred here. That is
This
why
is
he said, I have given this knowledge to the Vivaswan in the beginning of karma, beginning of creation. When Arjuna asked, no, how can you be there in the beginning of creation when I am seeing you, you as a born out of the Devaki and Vasudeva. So you are not there present for the Vivaswan to be seen. That is why Krishna has to say that you are looking at my physical body and thinking that I am a Vasudeva, son of Devaki and Vasudeva. But I am seeing myself as the Atma or Brahman, which was never limited to the body which you are seeing. I know myself as the Brahman, from where the Parameshwara created the Vivaswan, Ikshagu, etc., the Rajarshis. So when that knowledge is there in the Krishna, we should not limit Krishna to Vasudeva. Vasudeva as Krishna, son of Vasudeva and Devaki. If we do that, then Tattvataha Veditva will not happen. Then Janma Karma will not be Divya. It is not this create avatara alone that he is talking about. He is talking about all the avatars which had happened right from the Vivaswan creation onwards till what is being talked about to Arjuna. So we have to take it from a total picture rather than a convenient level of Krishna as a divine Lord born out of Devaki and Vasudeva. That should not be taken. Because he is a Guru, Jagat Guru, who is teaching the truth to the entire humanity, Arjunam Nimitti Kritya, by keeping Arjuna as a means to explain this. The listener Arjuna is benefited, but by listening to what he told to Arjuna, the humanity gets benefited ages in ages.
Binduji, this I'm seeing in the domain of, Adi Daivika Gnanam. Because, when I pondered over it over the weekend, that Vivaswan, the passing of this yoga, the light, right? Surya Deva. In yoga, after samyama, that combining all the steps into collapsing into one, the stage taken where the light in the form of light is an experience is where before gnanam. Basically, it's the light. It is taken close to the light, beyond which we are told that's it. Your yoga sadhana stops here. After that, move into gnanam. So, Adi Daivika.
What jnanam? What jnanam is that?
Gnanam is Swarupa Gnanam.
And what is the Swarupa Jnanam?
Swarupa Gnanam is, there is a Prakasha Vimarsha. Prakasha is the most you can, from a Vimarsha point of view, that's the closest experience. You can see that form of light, that's the most.
So there is a seer and there is a light separate from the seer, isn't it?
That's a yoga. That's where the yoga stops there.
Yeah, then you say that after the yoga stops, that jnana has to take place. So I am asking what jnana?
The Swarupa Gnana, that you are the light. Right, that's it.
You are the light. and what way I am knowing I am light is going to give me freedom from fear, rebirth and moksha.
No, that's perfect, Bendoji. There's no other way. Because recognizing that's it.
I'm not saying yoga and the light and that knowledge, what is being told in the yoga is wrong. But my question is that where does it solve my karma bandha, punarjanma and my miseries of samsara, prarabdha, etc.?
Yeah, the duality need to drop. The seer and seen, that separation need to drop off completely.
Yeah, so that is why when we are talking about the Adidevika thing which is limiting only to the yoga aspect, up to that whatever is explained is perfect. But then there is beyond that level also the Adidevika is operational, where it is Parameshwara's Swarupa itself. That is the Brahma Swarupa. That Brahma Swarupa and Atma Swarupa, Atmo Brahmaiva Napara. Or when Atman, I am Atma Brahma, when the Upanishad says, it is from that point of view what is being referred here as Janma and Karma. As the divine of the Ishvara, who comes for the purpose of restoring Dharma and annihilating Adharma, thereby re-establishing the Sanatana Dharma.
So this Gnanam, where does this fall, this kind of Gnanam? Will that fall into Pragnanam or Vignanam or Gnanam?
Which Jnanam? You are talking Tattvataha?
Yeah, the Janma Karma.
Janma karma is a Vijnana which will lead you to Prajnana by Tattvataha Yaveti. Janma karma or divine is Vijnana. That knowing Janma karma of an avatara is divine is a Vijnana. And that when it is applied that were the Swarupa of that avatara and the Pratyekatma of mind are non-different when you know that. That is the time then that becomes Prajnana.
So this is a Brahma Swarupa Lakshana. Maybe the Saguna Lakshana. Right, Bendoji?
Saguna Lakshana of Brahma is not mentioned here at all. It is mentioned as avatara. Brahma has not shown as, Brahman has not shown as Saguna and Nirguna here. It is Brahman, the one who comes, Atma Mayaya. That word has got importance here. When Brahman wants to project, that is what Eshasya Swabhavaha. That Maya is the Swabhava of Ishvara. Brahman is in the form of projective nature. Projection comes into projection nature. Then the projection is what becomes the world, because it is through the Maya. And then when the Maya is in the Maya, if avidya happens due to the kama and krodha located in our three locations, like the sense organs, manas and the buddhi, then we lose our knowledge of who we are, and we get superimposed with that we are the mind, body and intellect. And the rest of the story, you know it. I don't have to repeat it. So that is why we need to know it from the point of view of there is Saguna is only for the purpose of explanation. That Saguna aspect is present in the Nirguna itself, but not separately definable.
That means there is no boundary between Gnana, Gnana, Vijnana and Pragnana. You can't, after the Tattvataha, all of these are from the same source.
After Tattvataha, there is nothing else.
Nothing else. Basically, there is no separation altogether.
Yeah, kevalam, kevaloham. That kaivalyasya bhava.
Yeah, that total set.
Yes.
Sure, Bandaji. We'll continue to contemplate on this.
Okay. Thank you, Venkat. Okay, Prakash.
All right, Binduji. Let's, it's already getting to 10:30. So thanks everyone for coming. Tomorrow we'll reconvene for the next class, 407 at 8:30 p.m. IST. And the replays again are available for you to access in Clubhouse, or you can go to the link shared in the chat. And as always, thank you, Binduji. Over to you to close the room.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Karin. Thank you, Venkat, for your questions. And thank all of you for being there. We'll continue our class tomorrow. Hari Om. Good night.
Hari Om.